After a group of pro-Trump students celebrated on campus. This TikTok video showing the group of mostly boys with Trump flags and MAGA hats. School leaders say they kept an eye on things and stepped in when things got out of hand. School leaders say they are now restricting students from gathering in order to keep all students safe. They say students can still express themselves in an orderly manner.
So much fear in their eyes. Saying, "Miss Bella, please don't open that door. Oh my gosh, they look like KKK." But never did I think that I may be that person that was going to get hurt. Kids banging on the door and rattling the handle, and I'm holding on to the handle just thinking, oh my gosh, if they get in here, what am I going to do? Because I have to protect these kids.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about a hilarious story out of Beverly Hills High School, California. Yes, Los Angeles. Apparently, there are a lot of Trump supporters out there, at least enough to basically send this high school into chaos because of the boys who continue to celebrate Trump's victory, right? And the black students and a woke black teacher were so triggered by these boys celebrating Trump's victory that they're now boohoo, whining, and crying racism in what clearly is just another race hoax in order to smear these Trump-supporting boys as bigots, right? Just because they celebrate Trump, right? And I want to react to this story because once you see the footage of what these people are complaining about, it's just hilarious, right? And this is the type of stuff that we're going to have to deal with for the next 4 years. These fake stories about all these people being so upset and feeling as if they're in danger, right? I mean, I got to tell you, the left, they're composed of some of the softest individuals on the planet, right? I'm so serious. And stories like this is exactly what I'm talking about. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Underway at Beverly Hills High School following claims of racial intimidation on Election Day.
Fox 11's Hal Eisner's live with the update for us. Hal?
Yeah, an incident some students and others are calling racist has had a big impact on Beverly Hills High School and students and a teacher. And some of the video you're about to see we obtained through a public records request.
I'm going to tell you how scary it was.
This is what Bella Ivory is talking about. She's a fashion teacher at Beverly Hills High School who says on the day of the election, there was a mob going down the hallway.
It was just mob of kids, just so many kids outside my door. And they had one had a Trump flag on a pole, on a flagpole. Another, it was just so many of them. Some of them had on MAGA hats. Some, had on just Trump fans apparel.
She says someone tried to open her classroom door. Says it upset some of her students.
Yeah, so before we get into the boohoo, whine, and cry, right, I'm going to play the footage, right? Look at the footage. Does this actually seem like a mob to you? Right? Seriously, like, does this seem like a violent mob? They're just walking down the hallway with a Trump flag. Some of them, I don't know, maybe they could be trying to go to class. I don't know, to return back to the classroom. I'm not entirely sure, right? But this is not a mob. Okay, this is not the KKK, right? Which is what this teacher claims that her students thought, that they could be the KKK, right? This is what she said. And then her students felt like they were in danger. Why? Because they wore Trump hats. Because they had Trump paraphernalia. That's it, right? That's it. That's the evidence that they have. Well, you support Trump, so therefore you must be racist, right? And they're in a large crowd of people. So therefore it must be dangerous. Okay, and the white, right? That too, okay? Can't leave that out. The whites and the white Latinos, okay? Can't leave that out either. So you put all those factors together, right? The totality of the factors would suggest that this was a racist event. This is dangerous towards so-called students of color. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous.
At this school, I've had to deal with a lot of racism.
But at a recent school board meeting, students talked about how scared they were, given what happened outside Bella Ivory's classroom during election week.
And it became utterly impossible to just ignore it. From 8:30 to 2:30 all week, being at school felt like being in a nightmare. What the black students and Miss Bella had to deal with that week had absolutely nothing to do with politics. That week, being stormed, being called the N-word, being shunned, all because you were black, became the normal.
In recent weeks, I have seen racial slurs scrawled across the walls of our bathrooms, hateful rhetorics being spoken by fellow students in the hallways we share, and violent behavior towards Miss Bella and our club.
Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Where are the pictures of the racial slurs? Where is the audio recordings of people being harassed and called racial slurs? I guarantee you they don't have any, right? I guarantee you there is no evidence whatsoever, because if there was evidence, it would be in the news report, right? They'd be all on it, okay? It'd be everywhere. But there is no evidence. They're making it up. Why? Because they're salty that Kamala Harris lost, right? So now what they do is that they smear Trump supporters because Trump won, and they try to say, oh, look, see, this is the result of Trump winning. We're in danger now because we're black, because we're people of color, because we're women, because we're minorities, right? That's what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing. And, it's just like, come on. Come on. This clearly, obviously, are people who are upset. You're upset that Kamala lost, right? That Trump won. Because in the video footage, these students who will support Trump, they're not being violent. They're not saying anything super crazy or outrageous. They're just celebrating Trump winning. That's it. But again, they want you to think that celebrating Trump winning is like the equivalent of a KKK rally, and that Trump supporters celebrate by harassing so-called people of color, right? But I'm here to tell you, news flash, the last thing that a Trump supporter is thinking about after a victory, right? A Trump victory is so-called people of color, right? They're not thinking about you, okay? They're thinking about probably, how great it is for the country that Trump won, right? Probably celebrating with their family and their friends and others who also support Trump. They're not thinking about black folks, okay? What's up with these people thinking that they're the center of attention? That everybody's always thinking about them. I think it's the other way around. I think these people spend way too much time thinking about the white man. You spend way too much time thinking about Trump supporters, okay? And that's your problem. That is your problem. So, again, the reason why you know that this is fake, okay, this is fake outrage, is because this teacher was caught on audio basically making threats to Trump supporters after Trump won the election, right? So what she's trying to do here is that she's trying to play victim and to justify her getting caught saying the things that she said after the election to her class. So let's finish here.
Bella Ivory also spoke at the board meeting.
They looked so frightened. Then I said, I'm not going to open the door. And then the same student said, they look like KKK.
The district tells Fox 11, we remain deeply committed to upholding a secure and conscientious setting where students can responsibly and considerably engage in the democratic process. But the district says it is investigating the claims, investigating the situation using all resources available, including this audio recording from a student's cell phone inside Bella Ivory's classroom.
If anything happens to me at this school, my family will come for your families. If anything happens to my son and Bibi, I will comfort their families.
Ivory says she wasn't making any threats, just sharing her feelings in a conversation that she claims was edited on social media.
Pretty much saying, my family's going to come after a family that hurts me, kills me or whatever, legally, not physically.
High school officials say that the demonstration like you just saw will be prohibited in the future if it causes any kind of disruption. Meanwhile, Ivory says she's planning on going back to work just after she gets over some of the stress. In Beverly Hills, I'm Hal.
Yeah, this teacher should be fired, bro. Right? This woman has no business whatsoever in a classroom, man. Clearly what you have here is a woke teacher who is unhinged and basically probably pressure her students into pushing these ridiculous claims of racism, right? Boohoo wine and crime victim, because she got caught on audio basically threatening the students' families. And we all know, again, she's talking about the students whose families are Trump supporters. We all know that's what she's talking about. She got caught doing that. So now she's trying to stage this type of like race hoax in order to save face, right? And to pretend that she's so traumatized by what has happened over the past few weeks. Again, this is just another attempt by the left to basically try to connect Trump and Trump supporters with hatred and bigotry, right? And they do it in the most desperate ways, right? They come up with these scams, these fake incidences. Like, for example, you guys remember the whole text message thing, okay, about black people receiving text messages talking about they have been selected to pick cotton on a plantation, and they try to blame Trump. The liberal media try to blame Trump. Oh, well, see, this is what Trump's election victory has caused. Minorities are getting hurt, right? They're experiencing online hate, right? This is what they said. And it's like, just use your common sense. Who has access to the addresses and phone numbers of a bunch of black people, black liberals on top of that? Who has access to those things? The Democrat Party, right? The Democrat Party has access to that information. So it is likely that whoever did that was a Democrat, right? This is a Democrat operation. Clearly it's a hoax. And I think there was a Latino one as well too, right? There was a Latino message that was sent out too.
Welcome back. The FBI is investigating offensive text messages being sent to people in the Latino and LGBTQ communities. According to the agency, some people have reported receiving texts saying they were, quote, selected for deportation or telling them to report to re-education camps. These messages come after those racist texts African Americans were receiving that we told you about last week. Well, joining us now for more on this is NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And Ken, good morning. So, I mean, these messages, they started appearing in the last week, couple weeks, right after the election. What exactly are they saying? Tell us more details about what is in these text messages and who's been receiving them.
Yeah, good morning, Savannah. Look, a cross-section of people. The latest is, as you just said, a new group of people, the Latino and Hispanic community and the LGBT community. People in those communities have been receiving some of these vile and offensive texts, as you said, ordering them to report to re-education camps or saying they were ready to be deported, that kind of thing. And that comes after hundreds and hundreds of African Americans received texts. Again, violent, offensive messages saying that they've been, they're ordered to report to plantations, things like that. The FBI is involved, is investigating. Local officials are investigating. So far, no leads, Savannah, on who's sending these texts.
Ken, so how is the FBI responding here to the reports about these text messages?
Well, they're taking it very seriously. They're also saying, though, that there's no evidence that there are any violent threats associated with this or any violent planning, but they are trying to track down now who is sending these texts. They are working with state and local officials, and they are bringing their technological.
Yeah, so let's be clear. The only people who want to deport American Latinos in this country are the leftists that are upset that the Latinos voted for Trump, right? Those are the only people that really want to deport the American Latinos, okay? But what you can see here is that obviously this is a Democrat race hoax operation, right? And it's just funny because apparently the supply of hatred and bigotry is so low in this country that you got to make it up, right? You have to do things like this, clearly using a list that Democrats compiled of black voters, Latino voters from the election, right? Because again, that is the only way you would be able to get that type of information. Again, it's just obvious. Use common sense, right? What's going on here? Clearly, they use some list of some Democrat activist group that gather, these lists of people they were targeting to vote for Kamala Harris, right? And then they took all that information they gathered, used it to send out these hate messages. And that's why this will be investigated, but they'll never figure out who's actually sending it because it's the Democrats, right? It's the Democrats. And I guarantee you the news is not going to report on that. They're not going to report, hey, those hate text messages that we were talking about, that we were low-key trying to link back to Trump. Yeah, the Democrats did that, right? It came from the left. They're not going to report that. So you're never going to hear about it again, right? If they actually find out who is doing this, which again, it's the Democrats. I promise you. So this is what they do. They stage hate crimes and hoaxes against themselves as evidence that, hey, we're in danger because of Trump. It's pathetic. It really is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.